Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Ballogy. Manage and measure your players' skill development and increase accountability year-round utilizing the Ballogy app. Boost inter-squad competition with drills backed by the National High School Basketball Coaches Association, including a 40-shot Ballogy skills assessment. Please visit ballogy.com/teams for information on how you can provide this resource for your team. With the portal talk, I do think culture comes up quite a bit. In your opinion, how does culture drive performance of a team?
Yeah, the longer I'm in here, it's just been kind of coaching. When I first got into coaching, I tried to always be the other guys that I'd worked for. And I know you always hear that. And they always say, don't be yourself, but it's just kind of what you got to do as a coach, right? We all do it, I think. And so as I navigated Abilene Christian, I started getting more to myself, which was more of a culture guy, right? Just really, really big on building relationships with these kids. I think, you can really coach these kids hard and you can get after them and you can develop kids and you can tell kids the truth, but you have to have that relationship piece, right? When I played, when the coach walked out with a whistle, they had their ultimate respect, right? We were scared to death and did whatever they told us to do because he had the whistle, whoever that was, right? Whether it was one of my dad's friends in Little League Baseball or it was a junior high coach or a high school coach. But we're really big. We got really big on the relationship piece, right, at Abilene Christian, and really built relationships. And then we were able to coach our guys, and then we got a culture there of accountability, of high character kids that made the right decisions on and off the floor and played together, played for each other. And I really thought, a lot of college basketball games are won in the last 4 minutes, and I thought that relationship piece was really big, right, because in the last 4 minutes, it meant something, right? When we had a timeout and they were looking around at their teammates, there was a real relationship there. And so, the culture piece gets thrown around a ton. I don't really know what culture is, but, like for us, it's just everyday relationships, building it with kids. It was different here. It's different here because, at Abilene Christian, we had team chapel on Thursday, and then every day Abilene Christian had chapel, right? So we knew we were going to see our team every day at 10:50, right? Chapel started at 11:10, at 10:50 to 11:10 or whatever. We were going to see our guys, right, every day for 15 or 20 minutes. Well, here at UTEP, we have 30,000 students and they're spread out everywhere. And so, we've had to really adjust, because I want to touch our guys. I want to see them. I want them to be in there. I also want to see them at practice, right? And so, I don't know what, again, with the culture, but to me, it's touch.
The standards, those pillars of your program, how you show up every day, how you do things. You're right. That word is just used too much, but we all have them. And to not be conscious of it, I think that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're trying to protect it at all costs. And here's what I've learned in coaching is when you have a good culture and when you don't, right? Like, you can figure it out pretty quickly, right? And so you can tell by how your team hangs out, right? When they come over to the house, you can tell how the relationships that they're building. You can tell if they're building them off the floor. You can tell in practice, And so you can tell in the locker room. It's really, really obvious when you have that, culture. And again, like I said, we're fighting for it here at UTEP. I think we're closer than we've ever been. This group has done a good job with that, and they're starting to feel a responsibility to that and protecting that. And so it's just again, when you have it, when you don't, and again, we're in search of it each and every day.
That's an interesting point you made about the differences with ACU. Maybe a smaller university, but the mandatory chapels just almost giving you a team meeting every day right for you. So doing that, a little bit of that work. UTEP, where it's all spread out, more people, you've had to be more intentional. What are some of those ways that you have made sure that you get to see your players, meet with them, get them together?
Yeah, we just get them up here, right? We tell them they better get up here before practice. And we have guys that love basketball this year, so that's been good. So in between classes, right, they come in here, they're in the gym, they're getting some individual work in. And I have an office that has a window. So I'm able to,
nice.
bang on the window and get them upstairs and talk to them. And when I get them up here, we don't talk basketball most of the time, right? It's talking about their family, their everyday life, what they're doing, how's class, how's the dorm, how's the apartment, and then how mom, how dad, how brother, just talk life, right? And not talk basketball. Yeah, there's times we'll get them up here, right, and talk basketball, but and then we also have fun, Matt. Like, there's days where start and we're going to do a few things, and then we're going to surprise them and play a wiffle ball, right? And I don't even know if our guys know how to play wiffle ball, but again, just having fun, right, and doing some things with them where they see you outside of the realm of a basketball coach, right, and just coaching them up all the time, right? Like they see you in a different light. We have our guys over to our house a bunch. I challenge my assistant coaches to get them over to their house, see them in that limelight, see them being a father, right, around other kids, and see them, eat dinner and spend time. Again, it's just time, right? It's time. You have to find ways to have time to spend with them, to build a relationship. And, we'll do some things in the locker room that's not basketball related, right? We take a retreat every year, Matt. We started doing this at Abilene Christian. I got it from Coach Beard. And the teams in Lubbock, he started doing it, and we kind of piggybacked off him. And so we take a 2-day retreat, and it counts as 2 days of our practice, but I don't care. We turn our phones off, we get away from basketball, and we're fortunate here to have some mountains. We didn't have any mountains in Abilene. We had to drive to them.
That's true. I've driven through Abilene. There's no you got an Olive Garden, but there's no mountains. Yeah.
There's no deal, but we get away, Matt, and we do some really good stuff, right? Some team bonding stuff, and we do a lot of activities with them, and then we talk, and then we get in some pretty deep talks with them, and so our guys get to know them, right, and really get to know them, and then we do a sacrifice each year, right? So we do a huge bonfire, and we make a sacrifice in front of the team of something that we're going to do that makes the group better, right? Not just ourselves better, but our group better, and then we hold each other accountable to that sacrifice all year. And then once the season's over, we turn the page, right, and move on. But things like that, right?
Yeah.
Just getting away from basketball, spending time, and I think the relationship piece. But again, time's the important thing.
Coach, the reoccurring word that you've said over and over again is time. Like when you look back and you realize, man, maybe I wasn't as close to that team. The standards that we had across the board weren't. I didn't hold them to that level. The culture wasn't as good. I would imagine it's most likely a lack of time that you had with them that they had together. So somebody said, I can't remember who, but that culture is our number one job as coaches. I think so many times we focus on the schedule, the X's and O's, the skill work, all those things that are fun and we do love. But man, time with our players, I think you nailed it.
No, I agree. And I think that's that's the biggest thing is, and I think when you've spent time with players, right? Because when you can tell by the way they let you coach them, and then you can tell when your time coaching them's over, the relationship that you continue to have, right, with them, whether that's the years or two after, whether that's going to their wedding, getting the wedding announcement and going to see them get married, whether that's getting the baby announcement or just important things that happen in their life when they stay in touch, then you spent time with them, right, in the important parts of their life while they were in college. And so, yes, to your point, I think it's very, very obvious.
You said something earlier about you got a lot of guys who love basketball, and that kind of jumped out at me because I think a common misconception is that people that think of college level players that they all love it, that they all just want to be in the gym all the time. And from my experience, probably your experience too, is playing, and then obviously you coaching at that level for a long time. I was always blown away by there's some really talented guys that are good at this game, but did they love it? Did they just want to be in the gym all the time? I think that's a big distinction for high school players to understand that at that level, like loving it, it's pretty important.
Yeah, you're always perfecting your craft, right? And I tell our coaches in recruiting, I'll just take guys that like basketball, just give them the best to like it, right? And then if you're fortunate to get a guy that loves it, that spends a ton of time in the gym, that just makes you obviously they're invested, right? They're not only invested in themselves, but they're also invested in you and the program, right? And trying to get to better themselves. And we have a little saying in our program, Matt, like from October to March, it's about UTEP, right? And it's about our team, and it's about the development of our team, and we're doing whatever we can to win games, right? With amongst the pieces that we have from October to March. From March to October, it's about yourself, right? And how much can you improve to change your role next October, right? And always trying to get things that we can again, perfect our craft, get better at the things that we're really good at, and then let's improve on the things that we're not good at during that time period. But to do that, you have to love basketball, right? If we're constantly having to get them up in the gym, I mean, during the off season, you only get 4 hours a week with them, right? So it's however you want to do it, But if it's an hour a day for 4 days, they're not going to get much, I mean, they got to invest some time, and they have to come back and do it on their own. And if you're constantly, again, having to get them up here to do it, or you're fighting them to get up here to do it, it just becomes a hassle for you and a hassle for them. But the ones that you don't have to fight, right, to get in the gym, that truly love the game of basketball, truly love being in the gym, those are the ones that are fun to coach, right? And they become your better players, they become your better leaders. And again, the culture piece, the more you have that are like that, the more guys they bring to the gym with them, right? Because they start looking around the locker room, and if 8 or 9 of them are always in the gym and they're getting better and the other ones aren't, they better
let's use that peer pressure there. That's the positive side of peer pressure.
Absolutely. It's peer pressure from players just by their everyday actions. And so, this group's been really good. It's been fun to look down there. It's a group that, again, they love being in there, and, they love to get in the gym and completely transparent. I was not that way, right? Like I love to compete, back in the day, and I didn't necessarily love all the drill work, right? And that's still today, that's still the case, right? Like, there's guys that all summer they're not very good, right? And in the fall, and then all of a sudden you start going 5-on-5, and it's like, oh, okay, but you got to encourage them during the drill work, right? There's other guys that are great in drills and great in playing. There's other guys that are really good in drill work and look good in individual. Then you play, right? But so there's all kinds of different kids. And to your point, whether you're a high school coach, junior high coach, college coach, we're all trying to motivate each kid the best way we can. To again, make our pieces to the puzzle the best they can be, right? So that's coaching, right? And that's finding different ways to motivate these guys. But I know this: the more they're in the gym, the better player they're going to become, and the better players we can get them, the better team, right? There's no secret to that. It's just finding the guys that want to get in there.
I love that model that you talked about, the October through March being all about UTEP, and then those other months being about their individual development. I feel like that's what we also need at the high school level. Because like from October till maybe end of February, hopefully March, for us, it is going to be about faith basketball. But then I've seen a lot, and maybe when I was younger, and a lot of coaches, as soon as our season is done, all right, now it's faith basketball for next year. If I was a kid, I think, okay, at what point is it actually about me? Because we asked them to be so selfless for 6 months, 7 months. But there is this idea where there's really 2 tracks going right now. There's the team track and there's the individual track. And we still want them growing and moving along that. But in my opinion, the model you talked about gets them to maximize the team, but then be growing and still grinding. Because that's what select ball is for, in my opinion, it's not about team time anymore.
Right. And it happens, Matt. There's times in the season, right, where to your point, you continue to develop during the season. Your role changes, right? Like, there's guys in the season that your point get better and better and better, and their role gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right, throughout the season. And so roles can adjust during the season. We tell our guys that, right? Roles can adjust, but at the same time, where we're really trying to perfect their craft, and the individual development piece is done from March to October, right? And we try to get, we meet with them obviously after the season, and I guess the first thing we ask them is, "Are you coming back?" But with the portal,
different order of questions now.
Different order of talk, right? Like, but then after that, it's okay. These are the things you did really well, so let's continue to work on those a little bit. But these are things that we can see you improving on, and this is where your role could expand the following year. Whether that's weight training, whether that's gaining weight, losing weight, whether that's becoming a better perimeter shooter, whether that's putting the ball on the floor, whatever the case may be. Let's spend time on that. Let's invest in that over the next 6 months, and get better. I also think summer's a really good time to be creative and let guys get out of their box a little bit. You come watch us practice an offense, some things in the summer. We might not be as precise as we want to be, but we're letting guys do some things we might not let them do in the season. But again, we're trying to let them grow, right, in their role and in their craft and in their development. So we were really, really big on the development piece at Abilene Christian. That's what we were, right? We got them as freshmen. They played behind really good juniors and seniors. And then by the time they were sophomores, their role was, expanding. And, by juniors and seniors, they were carrying the torch, right, for our team. And we just kept it coming. And we were our staff, I thought, did a tremendous job of developing those guys. And it's harder to develop now, Matt, right? Because I think that's the biggest piece people don't talk about. Is the development piece now, right? It's like, because if these guys are leaving and going, to different places all the time, it's hard to develop them, right? This development piece is done in the spring or summer, and so it's become difficult, I think, to do that, and harder to do that. And then, let's state the obvious, man, right? If you're really, trying to develop hard in the spring and summer, they don't like it and they don't want to do that because it's hard. It takes time and it takes work. And if they don't want to do it, they just go somewhere else, right? And so to your point earlier. So, I still think our staff here is doing a really good job. We have guys developing. We have guys that have been in our program 2 or 3 years now, and those are the guys that are obviously bought in, to what we're doing here, and they're getting better and better. And I think they're going to have tremendous seasons this year. And selfishly, I enjoy those, right? Those are the stories that I really like, right? I love seeing guys in our program roles expand and continue to get better and become really, really good players, because I know the time and work they put in.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.